My name is Sarah Reed. I am 35 years old. Although it may sound odd to say this about myself, I hold a directorial position at one of the leading companies in the country. My job is extremely busy, but the fulfillment it provides occupies a major part of my life. There are goals to be achieved every day, and they keep me moving forward. "Good morning, Sarah," said my colleague John. "Yesterday's presentation was spectacular." "Good morning, John." "Thank you. Let's also work hard on the next project," I replied with a smile. In between meetings and projects, many of my subordinates come to me for advice. I sincerely address all their concerns, striving to boost team morale. My career has been built on my own efforts and patience, and I take pride in that. On the other hand, my home life is complicated. My husband Paul, an actor, was once in dramas and movies, but now his glory days are past. His peak is over, and his acting reputation is no longer flattering. All that's left are his habits of extravagant nightlife and poor relationships with women. Recently, Paul has been jobless more often and spending more time at home. When I told him about my promotion to director, he gave a mocking smile and said, "You, a director? You must be joking." Paul, my younger husband, also uses honorifics with me. He says he needs to be mindful of his language, or it slips during work. "People may say that you're certainly capable of handling your job, but a woman in such a major role?" I could only sigh and respond, "It can't be helped." The previous director took offense and left the company. And Paul is selfish. For example, there was this incident on a cold winter day. Paul suddenly said he wanted beef stew. When I told him we had no meat, he replied while lying on the sofa, "Then you should go buy some. And pick up some liquor and potato chips, too." Reluctantly, I got ready, drove to the store, and when I returned home, Paul was still lying in the same position. "You're late." Sorry. I'll cook now." Just as I said this and stood in the kitchen, the doorbell rang. My eyes widened, and Paul, with a smile, said, "You took so long I ordered pizza. It's late because the roads were busy." Okay. I'm going to eat pizza, so I don't need the stew." I looked down at the shopping bags in my hands. Paul has always been like this. Accustomed to being pampered from a young age, Paul lacks cooperation. Furthermore, I wondered what he had been doing while I was gone. He had no work scheduled for today, meaning he was free all day. He does go to a part-time job a few days a week, but even that doesn't last long. Treated as a declining former actor, he gets upset and clashes with colleagues. Paul now spends most of his day on social games. Moreover, this month's allowance has all gone to in-game purchases. "Keep your spending in check, okay?" "Yes." While he nodded, Paul wasn't really remorseful. I give him an allowance of $200 a month. But that's not enough for him, and he often asks for more. Paul's income is unstable, and whatever he earns, he spends entirely on himself. Mostly on nights out with friends, and also on branded clothes and accessories. "Don't be so angry." "I'm not angry." Sensing something in my expression, Paul tried to approach and hug me. "I really do prefer your cooking, Sarah. The food you work so hard to make has to be delicious." But I got too hungry. I slipped out of Paul's arms. The arm he extended hung in the air, and he gave a wry smile. "Hey, Paul. Why did you marry me?" I suddenly asked. Paul's eyes widened in surprise for a moment, but he soon smiled. "Because you're wonderful, Sarah." "Why ask such a thing now?" "Really?" Is that all? Of course. Not many can handle both work and home so perfectly. I felt emptiness in his words. Was his reason for choosing me truly love? Or was it just for my financial stability? One day, I decided and bought a new high-rise condominium. It was to step out of the somewhat cloudy life I had been leading, and to start anew in a new environment. Purchasing the condo was a significant step for me, an investment for myself. A few days after the condo purchase was finalized, and I was preparing to move, I told Paul about it. That night, he looked at me coldly and said, "Sarah, I'll be moving in with my mistress from tomorrow. So, unfortunately, you'll have to leave the house." His words pierced my heart coldly. What? What do you mean? At that moment, the front door opened, and a young, attractive woman appeared. She said with a triumphant laugh, "Old hag, get out of my house, haha." I was momentarily breathless, but quickly regained my composure. The young and attractive woman was exactly Paul's type. Paul had planned to live with his mistress, without considering everything I had done for him. There was no gratitude towards me, only actions to satisfy his own desires. What are you talking about? I bought this house. So, you two are the ones who should leave. What are you saying? This is Paul's and my house. Then Paul said something outrageous. "Sarah, I've got a great idea. Why don't we all live together? Divorcing is too much hassle, haha." What? Paul. Great idea. Let's do that. I don't mind at all. Are these people aliens? Why should I, the one cheated on, provide a home for Paul and his mistress? Paul. I'll give you 2 weeks. Find a new place and move out by then. I said this and returned to my study. That night, I sat alone in my study, reconsidering what marriage is and what self-worth means. What had I gained and lost in my marriage life? What I received from dedicating myself to Paul was just an empty sense of fulfillment. Was all my effort in vain? Thinking back, Paul had been indifferent to me from the beginning of our marriage. I knew about his cheating habits before we married, and I believed that supporting him might change him. But that was just my naive hope. Paul didn't change, instead, he got worse. I was close to losing sight of my own value. However, my marriage life with Paul taught me something important. It's not about self-sacrifice, it's crucial to value oneself. I will no longer be swayed by Paul. I have resolved to take actions to reclaim my life. The next day, I began preparing to start my new life, starting with settling my relationship with Paul. I gathered evidence of his infidelity and decided to divorce him. I will no longer be swayed by him. I decided to move forward strongly to reclaim my happiness. In the midst of this, I decided to consult with my best friend Mandy, who has always been a supportive presence. Mandy, can you listen? There's been a lot going on recently. What happened? Sarah, you look pale. Talk to me properly. I told her everything that had happened, Paul's infidelity, his declaration of cohabitation with his mistress, and my purchase of a new condominium. So, what are you planning to do? Honestly, I don't know. I'll move to start a new life, but my heart is still not settled. Mandy listened to my story in silence for a while, but then she said firmly, "Sarah, you've been trying hard enough until now. But I can't stand by and let you suffer quietly. You should fight back." Fight back? How? It's simple. Gather evidence of Paul's infidelity and legally corner him. You have the right to do that. Her words woke me up. I realized I needed to fight to protect myself. I resolved to take action to settle things with Paul and reclaim my life. First, I began gathering evidence of Paul's infidelity. I examined everything: messages, photos, call histories stored on his smartphone and computer. The evidence was easy to find. His infidelity was more blatant than I had imagined, and it was clear how indifferent he was to me. Mandy, I've gathered the evidence. Now I can confront Paul. Well done, Sarah. What will you do next? I'll consult a lawyer. I'll make Paul legally accountable. The next day, I visited a lawyer's office. After hearing my story and checking the evidence, the lawyer took immediate action. Ms. Reed, this case is certainly winnable. We will take legal action against Mr. Paul, so please be assured. Thank you. I am ready to fight. As the legal proceedings progressed, Paul was increasingly cornered. His mistress also began to change her attitude under the impact. Sarah, what are you doing? This is terrible. Paul yelled. You betrayed me first. You have to take responsibility. I did nothing wrong. I was just chasing love. Love? Is that what you call love? I no longer intend to be swayed by you. The confrontation with Paul intensified. But I did not back down and maintained a firm stance against him. Together with my lawyer, we proceeded with the legal steps. And eventually, the divorce was finalized. Even after the divorce was finalized, Paul intended to stay in my house. But he was forcibly evicted through legal procedures. I was able to carve out a new life for myself with my own strength. Divorce finalized, and a new life began. I spent more time alone, facing myself. During my marriage, I had time to reflect on how much I had sacrificed and how I should grow in the future. At work, the busy days continued as usual. The responsibilities of a director were heavy, and I was involved in many projects. But that was also my passion. One day, my colleague John approached me. Sarah, you seem to have changed recently. You seem more confident than before. Really? Thanks, John. Since the divorce, I might have had more time to reflect on myself. John looked surprised. You got divorced? That must have been tough. Yes. But now, I'm taking it positively. I see it as a chance to start a new life. That's very positive and impressive. Living in the new condominium was a fresh start for me. I arranged the interior to my liking and enjoyed my daily life. When I returned home from work, the spacious living room provided me with time to relax, which soothed my heart. What shall I cook today? I mused aloud as I stood in the kitchen. Cooking became a way to calm my mind and cherish the time I took care of myself. At work, I had more opportunities to tackle new projects. One day, Director Sato approached me. Sarah, I would like you to handle this project. What do you think? Yes, of course. I'll give it my all. The project was crucial, affecting the future of the company, and came with great responsibility. However, I was fired up for the challenge. The new life had given me confidence and further boosted my motivation at work. Sarah, this proposal is fantastic. How did you come up with such an idea? A younger team member asked. Thanks. This idea came through various experiences. I think it's important to always try new things and grow. Days of feeling personal growth continued, and I was able to live more positively. I was trusted by my colleagues at the company and found joy in fulfilling my role as a team leader. And one day, I decided to meet Mandy after a long time. Mandy, it's been a while. Sarah, you seem radiant. You've really become stronger since the divorce. Thanks, Mandy. I owe it to you. Sarah, what will you do next? Find any new hobbies? Well, I recently started attending a cooking class. I had been interested for a while, so I decided to give it a try. That's wonderful. What have you made? Recently, I've been learning French cuisine. I plan to make some dishes from it today. We stood together in the kitchen and enjoyed cooking. Trying new recipes and cooking French cuisine was truly enjoyable. Mandy helped me, and we laughed together as we prepared the dishes. Sarah, this sauce is exquisite. It's really delicious. Thanks, Mandy. Cooking has become even more enjoyable thanks to you. After the cooking was done, we enjoyed the dishes we had arranged on the dining table. Delicious food and pleasant conversation filled our hearts. Sarah, continue to enjoy your time for yourself. You have the right to that. Thanks, Mandy. I'll continue to cherish myself and try new things. After that, I decided to try various hobbies, such as attending yoga classes and participating in painting workshops. I became proactive in engaging in activities I couldn't do due to my busy work schedule before. Sarah, how have you been? Are you enjoying the yoga class? It's a lot of fun. It refreshes both my body and mind, and I've made new friends. Meeting new friends has become a valuable part of my life. I've been spending more time going to cafes and enjoying picnics on weekends. With friends I met in yoga class. Interacting with them has added more color to my life. In painting class, I've learned to express my emotions through art. When I showed my first painting, the instructor said, "Sarah, this is a wonderful piece. Your emotions come through very clearly. Thank you. I want to continue doing this." Thanks to my new hobbies and friends, my life has become increasingly rich. I've overcome the painful past with Paul, and now I can find my own happiness. One day, I decided to host a party with my new friends. Mandy, friends from yoga class, and friends from painting class all gathered. And we had a great time. Sarah, thank you for throwing such a wonderful party. It's really fun. I'm happy to spend time with everyone too. Let's continue to share many more fun times. During these enjoyable times, I realized how much I've grown and how happy I feel. New life, new friends, new hobbies. I am confident that I can continue to cherish myself and pursue happiness. Gradually, my heart has regained peace. I was focused on work and new projects were progressing well, but somewhere in my heart, I was looking for new encounters. Then, a new wind blew into my life. One lunchtime, I was at a cafe near the office. As usual, I was enjoying some relaxing time during work when a man approached me. "Excuse me, may I sit here?" He had a refreshing smile. "Of course, please do," I answered. He sat down politely and ordered while looking at the menu. "Do you come here often?" He started a light conversation. "Yes, I come here often." "It's good for a break during work," I replied. He introduced himself while offering a business card. "My name is Ben White. I work at an IT company." "And you?" "I'm Sarah Reed. I work at a trading company," I replied. After that, our conversation flowed naturally. His bright and positive character was refreshing and comfortable for me. As we talked about work and hobbies, we gradually got to know each other better. "Sarah, would you like to have lunch together sometime?" Ben asked, looking a bit embarrassed. "I'd love to, I'm looking forward to it," I responded with a smile. A few days later, we had lunch together at the cafe again. Ben was very charming, and his kindness and sincerity drew me in. Talking with him was enjoyable, and time flew by. "Ben, talking with you really relaxes me," I honestly said. "I feel the same, Sarah. Being with you really puts my mind at ease," Ben replied with a smile. We began to meet more often, and our relationship gradually became closer. Time with him symbolized a new beginning in my life. I had overcome past pains and was able to feel happy again. One weekend, we decided to go to a movie. In the dark of the cinema, I savored the happiness of being next to Ben. After the movie, we went for a walk in a nearby park. "Sarah, there's something I've been wanting to tell you," Ben suddenly said seriously. "What is it?" I looked at his face, a bit surprised. "I really care about you. I know about your past. But I still want to walk into the future together with you," Ben said, choosing his words carefully. His words warmed my heart. His sincere feelings came through. "Ben, thank you. I'm very happy with you too. I want to keep walking with you," I replied, tearfully. Then we took each other's hands and started walking towards a new future. My relationship with Ben symbolized a new beginning. I had overcome past pains and was able to feel happy again. As we supported each other in work and everyday life, our bond deepened. Touching his kindness and sincerity, I slowly healed from my past wounds. One day, to celebrate a big success in Ben's project, we went out for dinner. His eyes sparkled, and I could feel how important this success was to him. "Sarah, I could only come this far because of your support. Thank you very much," Ben said, expressing his gratitude. "I'm really glad I met you, Ben. Let's keep supporting each other," I replied with a smile. That evening, we talked about our future and reaffirmed our commitment to walk together. A new chapter in my life began, and I could feel hopeful about the future with Ben. As our relationship deepened, our time together became more and more enjoyable. Dates with him brought new joy to my heart and made me forget the loneliness and solitude I felt in everyday life. On weekends, we went out to various places. One day, we visited an art museum in the suburbs of Tokyo and admired beautiful paintings and sculptures. Ben was knowledgeable about art and taught me a lot. His knowledge and passion helped me find new interests. "This painter expresses emotions strongly with a unique touch," Ben explained. And I felt my understanding of the paintings deepening. On another day, we visited a seaside resort and enjoyed a walk while listening to the waves. The sea breeze was pleasant, and we walked slowly, hand in hand. "Coming here really refreshes the mind," Ben said with a smile. "Yes, it's truly healing," I replied. At that moment, I again realized how happy I was to be with him. We also enjoyed cooking together. Ben was good at cooking, especially Italian cuisine. I was surprised by his proficiency in the kitchen and learned new recipes from him. "Let's try making homemade pasta today," Ben suggested, and we started making pasta together while enjoying ourselves. We kneaded the dough and shaped it with a pasta machine, laughing and sharing happy moments. "Sarah, your cooking is really delicious," Ben said. "Thank you. It's because you teach well," I replied shyly. Then, one evening, we went to an observatory in a high-rise building to see the night view. The city of LA sparkled brilliantly, and I was overwhelmed by its beauty. Ben drew me close and whispered quietly, "Sarah, I'm really happy to be able to see this view with you." I feel the same way, Ben. Being with him has brought new joy to my life. I can't completely forget my past with Paul, but the time spent with Ben heals me and restores my positive spirit. We had also planned a trip together. For our next holiday, we were planning to see the autumn leaves at Yosemite. I was looking forward to enjoying the beautiful scenery of the ancient city and spending time with Ben. Ben, I'm looking forward to walking and seeing the autumn leaves, I said. Me too, Sarah. Yosemite is a beautiful place, and I'm sure it will be a wonderful memory. Ben replied with a smile.